solely representing Jibia Kaita Federal Constituency. I'm from Katsina State, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm coming on Order 8, Rule 4, for the House to consider the need for the relevant security agencies to bring to an end the spate of oblivious kidnapping, killings, and armed banditry across the country. Also, request the House to suspend its relevant rules or its rules to enable it to debate the matter as urgent matter of public importance. Forthwith, I so move, Mr. Speaker. Will give me this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, the need for the relevant security agencies to bring to an end the spate of oblivious kidnappings, killings, and armed banditry attacks across the country. The House notes that in recent time, security situation in some parts of the country has degenerated. Also notes that cases of kidnappings, killings, armed banditry have become a daily occurrence across the country, especially in Niger, Benue, Sokoto, Zamfara, Kaduna, and Katsina State, just to mention a few. Cognizance of the presidential directives, which has not helped to drastically reduce cases of kidnappings and armed banditry, as well as killings in the country, due to lack of sustained tempo in the intervention of our military, of our security agencies. These criminals, as a result of that, these criminals have continued to regroup in different camps in government reserve forests, which are spread across the country, and the surrounding villages across near the government reserve forests. Worried that the magnitude of the attacks on various communities have reached an alarming rate as these criminals have continued to perpetuate their criminal acts unabated. Also worried that if this criminality is not urgently addressed, there will be an imminent present danger to our food security in this country. Concerned that any deferment by the security agencies to abridge the continuous horror and inhumanity will result to an enormous loss of lives, destructions of properties, and immobilize the socio-economic and educational activities of various communities across the country. Aware that the country is battling to contain the dangerous community infections rate of COVID-19, added with the persistent attacks by criminals on farming communities across the country, especially in the Northwest and North Central, and if this is not addressed quickly, this may result to serious food shortage in coming years in this country. Also aware that about 500 primary schools and 2,000 communities were completely destroyed across the countries in these crisis areas as a result of this incest, kidnappings, killings, and armed banditry attack. Also worried that these criminals are armed to the teeth with weapons supplied by known or unknown gun runners in cosmopolitan cities across this country. The House resolves to summon the National Security Advisor, the Chief of Defense Staff and his service chiefs, the Director, State Security Service, the Inspector General of Police, next week to brief the House on the efforts being made and the way forward to bringing an end to these killings, kidnappings, and armed banditry across the country. Mandate the leadership of the House to continue the engagement with all the security agencies and report to the House monthly on the progress being made until these heinous crimes are resolved or normalcy is restored in the country. I so move, Mr. Speaker. My other colleagues on the floor, Mr. Speaker.
To second, as I said earlier, the insecurity situation that we are facing in our constituencies, in fact, the thing is worsening. For instance, what is happening in the last 2 to 3 days in our villages, just kidnappers have killed over 150 people from my local government. Number two, they have run away with their animals, over 7,000 cows, goats, camels, and sheep, as well as their food items. We have been trying to call on the federal government over the assistance for quite a long time, because this is my second or third time raising this motion in connection with the present issues that we are facing in our areas, because these issues affect 3 to 4 states. That is Zamfara, Katsina, Sokoto, Niger Republic. Those kidnappers or those bandits are rotating from one angle to another. If you send them from Katsina today, they will be in Sokoto tomorrow. By next day, they will be in Zamfara. So they are rotating. In fact, the thing is happening. No day that our people have not been killed. No day. Kidnapping is automatic. So, in fact, Mr. Speaker, it's something to be considered by this good house. Or that set a committee to find out what is the solution about this issue. Our villages are no more staying in their villages. No farming whatsoever in any village. So in fact, Mr. Speaker, with my honorable colleagues, in fact, I'm pleading. We need more assistance over this issue, so that this issue has been covered up for our people. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable.
Also with a heavy heart that, first and foremost, I must also thank the mover of the motion on this issue concerning our great country. And secondly, it is a heavy heart that we speak on this matter. From what is happening in the world today, you have seen that it's come to fruition that there is nowhere to run. Nigeria is the only country we have, and in other parts of the world, you see what is happening to black people as well. So if within Nigeria, from the northeast to the northwest to the southeast, south-south, and southwest, there's really nowhere to run. So this is an issue.
Yes. The Deputy Speaker.
Yes. All right. So this is an issue that we should take very seriously. What he has mentioned is an army of youths who are unemployed, who are unemployable, who do not have any basic skill, and who are looking for means of livelihood. This has called for a strategic meeting. And I like what he said about the leadership. The leadership of the House to engage the relevant authorities. Because what we now need to do is to begin to think on how to harness the army of young people out there, both men and women. And if we don't do that, I'm sure in the days, months, and years to come, we are going to have more serious issues on our hands. And so, Mr. Speaker, I urge you, I urge the leadership, and I urge all the members, wherever you are from in Nigeria, to not only support this motion, but to look at it as very important. Because a time has come when all the monies we have in the bank, all the cars we have, all the policemen we have guiding some of us will not help matters. We have seen instances where some of these young boys will hold the police on a gun duel, and sometimes they overpower them. And so time has come that we know some of them, we'll identify them, and we'll find out a strategic means of making sure we harness their potentials and make sure that they are employed and engaged fully so that they can move away from crime and criminality. For that reason, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for this opportunity, thank my colleagues, and thank everyone. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Linda.
Honorable Sada and Honorable Bagaja for bringing this issue once again before this House. And I also like to thank the leadership, because I'm aware of the fact that the leadership has engaged the service chiefs on the issue of security in our land. So I'll just say that you need to continue doing that. It's right that security is one of the obligations that any government owes its citizens. And it's unfortunate that this issue keeps coming up on the floor of this House. This is not the first time the issue of security has been discussed on this floor, and nothing has come out of it. I'd like to say that whatever strategy that they've been employing, they might need to look at it. If it's not working, they might need to be flexible and look at other strategies to make this work. Security is a major problem in Nigeria right now. As a matter of fact, 2 days ago, I lost a constituent, Mr. Charles Chukura. He was on his way from Ogidi to Onitsha, where he went to work. He was killed. He was cut into two. So all lives matter, Mr. Speaker. So I'd like to just say that instead of talking about security all the time, because this is not the first time, and I know it won't be the last, I'll just like to encourage you, Mr. Speaker, because with the leadership, you need to do more. I know you've done a lot, but you guys need to do more, because security is a major problem that we have in this country. I mean, COVID is of course the current problem, but without security, no economic thrives. People are suffering in Nigeria, Mr. Speaker. So please, I implore you and urge you to continue what you're doing, but please do more so that we cannot talk about this security again. Because it doesn't make sense to keep talking about it and talking about it. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
I represent Uji Ezagura constituency of Benue State. Mr. Speaker, I wish to use this opportunity to thank the mover of this motion at this timing. It has been a recurring decimal in this Parliament on the issue of security, issue of bandits, and various attacks on citizens of Nigeria. And we have had cases in our constituencies, irrespective of where each of us come from. Mr. Speaker, we cannot solve this problem without addressing the engagement of the teeming youths of Nigeria. The COVID we have at hand is just a waiting window for an explosion to come into this country. Most countries are already thinking ahead what to do, whether it's interim measure, medium term or long term, to engage the youths and idle population that is teeming, looking for what to do for living. A hungry man is an angry man, Mr. Speaker. There is no rolling plan for our youths. And like my colleague had mentioned, one of the speakers before now, it is important that as a parliament, that we engage the executive to determine what is the future of graduating youths, whether from colleges, whether from university, whether from technical schools. We have a lot of them who are willing to do something for their living. But because of the model of our economy, where an idea cannot come to reality unless you have either collateral going to the banks, or you have somebody who can put in his money to sponsor you on the venture you want to go into. There is no plan for over 60 million youths that are within the work bracket of the age distribution. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, it is important because at a time will come when we will be very, very unsafe to move on the street. Not because there is no security, no police, no army, as at that time, these armed forces or these security agents will not be able to cope with the level of uprising coming as a result of youths who have nothing doing. So my major contribution, Mr. Speaker, is that we should engage the executive to bring out a rolling plan that will enable our youths to come out, people who are willing to do something for their living, whether in agriculture, whether in micro-manufacturing, a blueprint that is accessible, a blueprint that is not encumbered with bureaucracy, where there are interventions and you find out that less than 5% of eligible people do not get it. Where the distribution of every intervention, whether in agriculture, whether in micro-manufacturing, it does not get to the desired people that requires these incentives to motivate and stimulate the economy. So we must think ahead. These are the emerging time bombs that are coming, and by that time, if we do not take precautionary measures to begin to address it now, we'll find ourselves in a big trouble. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this motion.
Thank you. Honorable Wumi.
Mr. Speaker, the issue of security in Nigeria, this is not the first time that this kind of debate has come into the front of the House. And it's like the people that are saddled with the responsibilities of securing the nation maybe I should say is a case of ineptitude, or that they don't really have the solution to it. And that is the problem that we have in Nigeria. And this is affecting everybody. There is no one that is not being affected by the situation that we find ourselves in Nigeria. And I feel if the people that are saddled with these responsibilities, they cannot handle it, maybe there is a need for the legislative arm of government to be able to invite them and have an interface with them, so that there can be a kind of a solution that will be brokered, or there will be a kind of solution that will be put in the front that will affect the nation at large. And the point is, we have never had it so bad in Nigeria. And every day we are recalling many cases of threat to lives. If it's only limited to threat, we will say, okay, it's something that can be accommodated. But there are lives that are lost every day on a daily basis, and there is no solution to it. You go to the street, you can't go out, even for most of people that are in high positions, that are holding high positions in Nigeria. They are being threatened too. They are being threatened, regardless of the securities that they have with themselves, or that is with them. So I want to say that there is need to really address this squarely, because it's calling for attention. And if care is not taken, it might go. What we are talking about might go to the root of this nation, and that is the fear that we have. Because if the people that are supposed to secure the nation, they cannot do what they are supposed to do, what's the need of I will not want to say anything that will be volatile here, but what I want to say is that something serious should be done, and steps should be taken to address this. Let all the security chiefs, we have never done that, let them come and address us through the nation. After all, we are representing the people. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Bamidele.
Also lend my voice to the very important motion moved by Honorable Sada Soli and our other colleague on the need for us to be more proactive and take very drastic steps in conjunction, of course, with the executive arm of government to be able to stem this tide of insecurity that is sweeping every part of the country. Mr. Speaker, I want to take a look at it from two different angles. The first angle has to do with the security architecture that we adopt as a country. Mr. Speaker, the major responsibility of
handling internal security is that of the police everywhere in the world. Today, we have a situation where crimes like banditry, kidnapping, cattle rustling, and some other, crimes, we call on the military to tackle and handle them only because we have failed to develop the capacity of our police force to tackle these problems. Normally, the military is supposed to protect the sovereign integrity of the country and handle other complex issues like insurrection or other things that is beyond the police. But today, we have so much stretched the military that as they combat, the terrorism in the south, in the northeast, they are called upon to counter, cattle rustling in Katsina, kidnapping in Lagos, and so on and so forth. Now, it calls on us to be more, creative, especially in putting attention on strengthening the capacity of the Nigerian police force. Number one, recruiting more men and ensuring that there is adequate training, motivation, and provision of equipment for our police force to be able to tackle these problems. Because if we don't, it will get to a situation, God forbid, that communities will have to form themselves into militia to protect themselves against these rampaging people who are going on about, perpetrating this criminality everywhere around the country. And then, Mr. Speaker, I also want to warn that we have to, let principal actors of government in the executive level know that the Constitution does not just say that the principal purpose of government security of life and property, it actually meant it. The strategy of some state governments calling for a truce, granting amnesty to bandits. I read the governor of Katsina State recently saying that he regretted that he went into an agreement with bandits in the state because he thought that he was going to solve the problem. It will never solve any problem. A government has to be decisive. A government has to confront the problem of crime. Crime is crime. You don't negotiate with criminals. You take them out. It is only by doing that that you deter any other person who wants to go into crime. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, it's also the need for us to address the youth and the problem of drugs amongst our youth. It is one problem that is creating a breeding ground for this criminality. The way drug is being abused.
Your Excellency, sir, I rise from a very deep, sad heart at this very particular moment over what is happening in our country. And I think it should be concerned to all of us. When we came in 2015, the main challenge in this country was Boko Haram. To the glory of God, Boko Haram has been reduced. But what is happening, the backlash of what Boko Haram has caused us, but what is happening today should also be of worry and to all of us and to all Nigerians. Your Excellency, you recall sometimes past, about last year, the House passed resolution where we had interactive session with the various security chiefs. It was reported in this floor of the House what should be done and what they were supposed to be doing. Today we have so many operations in the country. Operation Habron Kunama, Operation Zaki, all over. Even yesterday or 2 days ago, we have another establishment of this very operation by the armed forces. And so I'm taking it back when the chairman defense is trying to defend to say the army should be exonerated from this very particular. I think we should take exception to that. We are voting in money is being given out. They are establishing formations everywhere for the purpose of curbing this very bad scenario that is happening in our country. You can't travel for any part of this country freely. Is it going to Kaduna? Is it going to South? And I think it's not about poverty. Poverty is everywhere. If, for instance, I want to know what is the number of these people, what is the area where both helicopters were celebrated, money has been voted, I say substantial money. I want to know the area where these people are operating, that they cannot be surrounded, they cannot be come. Sir, it's very, very sad. And I think something should be done. I want to say, sir, that there is no synergy as far as I'm concerned, within the armed forces. And so one is trying to outweigh the other. I want to say from the previous information that I know, security, DSS particularly, have been doing exceedingly well. And I will say this to the entire world living here. Virtually, nothing that has happened, nothing, without an information to say of expectation of what may likely happen. But what is the problem that from the other arms that they cannot collaborate with their own colleagues and then solve the matter? Politics are coming. Last time we spoke, we knew how the armed forces, when they operating in Burma, have turned out to be people who are now selling fish. It's not even Nigerian. There's no patriotism in what is going on. And I think something should be done apart from hearing, sir. Some heads have to roll. You recall the House passed a resolution asking and condemning and then passing a vote of confidence on the activities of the service chiefs. Unfortunately, they have not been removed. Unfortunately, I would say I would domicile this problem under their care. You are aware of the memo that was leaked between the office of the late chief of staff and the problem between with the national security advisor. Why are we pretending? Why are we pretending when we know the reality? Mr. Speaker, respected colleagues, something has to be done. One life in Nigeria means a lot to all of us. With this pandemic, I want to say our people cannot go to farm. And if we cannot farm, there's no importation. How are we going to survive? How will the country survive? Food security is something that all of us should be worried about, apart from the human life that we should also to protect. All of us here have sworn to do that. And I think we should call a spade a spade. It's time to rise to the occasion to ensure, by the grace of God, to ensure that this thing comes to an end. Governors have gone, many governors, for instance, went into various sessions. Armed bandits that are known had negotiations. Where? Lodged in hotels. Why do you have to negotiate with a criminal? What has it paid to us? All this negotiation, what has it paid? Have we getting something? If you read today's paper, you find where Masari is saying, regretting negotiating with them. You need to listen to some of the audios. Somebody in Kasina, a member in the House of Assembly, domiciling the problem, and the problem is true. Because if we are doing what we are supposed to be doing, of course, some of this thing cannot be happening. Yesterday I was watching NTA, and I watched Tim Long, who is one of the most respected persons, and he's saying in NTA to the whole world, the problem of security, as far as it's concerned, the National Assembly of Nigeria are part of the problem. Why is he saying that? We are not doing our oversight the way we should be doing. He even challenged us that we are not, he compared us what we are doing with the Congress of America. It is true in some of the areas, and I think, sir, all of us should rise to the occasion. I support the motion wholeheartedly in all the content. We should invite these people, they should come and give us, and we must find a timeline to solve this matter. Otherwise, even it means to summon the president, nothing bad to summon the president to come and address us on the self-nation and security matter. Thank you very much, sir. This is about me.
Manners, the security, handling it is very unfortunate. Even if they are deployed to go and do what they are supposed to do, they are ending up collecting bribery to the people who are innocent and who are looking for their daily means. And in actual sense, if you go to my constituency and the neighboring states of Katsina, Sokoto, Zamfara, and Kaduna, there is no sustained operations in terms of fighting this banditry and armed robbery. What the police and the military are doing, if they are deployed, they will be in the local government secretariat, or they will be in the primary school, sitting, eating, and just sleeping without doing what they are supposed to do. allowing the innocent people in the night to be men and operate at the mercy of the bandits. And even day before yesterday, the military are in Dandume, and somebody was kidnapped, and a very rich farmer, and he said he is not going to be taken to the bush. They slaughtered him, and the people in Dandume, they went to the military camp where they were camped. The military said they are not giving directives to go and test the bandit. Even last week, my farm manager called me. He told me that these bandits, they came out in 100 vehicles, motorcycles. And he told me, I called the area commandant. I told him, these people are coming out to operate by 8 o'clock in the night. You are supposed to mobilize the military and mobilize the mobile force to come and test them and finish them. But he told me that they were not given that order, which is his own jurisdiction. The following day, they killed 13 people and sacked about 7 areas in Paskari and Sabwa local government. So this situation, Mr. Speaker, is we need to look at it as a leaders, and we need to be realistic in this approach. If we are serious and determined to ensure peace and security of this country, because one, as a farmer, all my farms now cannot be assessed because of the banditry. They even go to the farms and take people and collect 100,000, and the least they collect, that is 100,000 if you are a small farming holder. If you are a big farmer, they will collect 5 million, 10 million, 8 million. Even day before yesterday, the chairman of PDP, former chairman of PDP, his children was raped for 19 days, and he paid 30 million naira. It's unfortunate to this government, and it's very sad and very pathetic. We have to be realistic, and we have to approach this holistically to ensure peace and security of this country. Because Khalid Tigers in Sri Lanka, as a student of history, the government fights Tamil Tigers with all force, and they do it left, right and center, and they ensure that Tamil Tiger is no longer in existence. These criminals, if people will be allowed, I assure you, sir, to take the law into their hand, it will be a thing of the past. But unfortunately, we are constrained. We are not allowed. Most of the people that are calling Mbanga, those that are supposed to vigilante, some of the security are even maiming them because they are looking at them as if they come to do their jobs. But, Mr. Speaker, my respected colleagues, it's very sad from what the Deputy Speaker said. A member of Katsina Assembly called us, we don't know what we are doing, we as the executives. So, as a matter of fact, I went to this house to make it a resolution to this very unfortunate situation. We are ready to sacrifice our life to face this unfortunate situation, so that for the yet unborn generation, because we know when I was local government chairman, there is a lot of criminality in Puntua. Every day 10 houses will be entered. I take it upon myself to get intelligence information. I paid for the intelligence information, and I fight the criminals, and people sleep with their eyes closed before peace and security was sustained, because Puntua has all the connection with most of the states of the country. You may find anybody in Puntua. So that is why since 2003 I am in the system, whether you like me or you don't like me, because I am telling the naked truth, Mr. Speaker, as the Speaker of the masses, as the Speaker who is responsible. We need to pass these service chiefs. They are long overdue, and it's unfortunate what they are doing. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.
The people of Mom in Tura and Kwani local government have not been able to go back to their farms for the past 6 years. The communities of Madura are at the edge. The communities of Kura are at the edge. Just 3 days ago, in Oju local government, 13 people were killed. Last week in Agasha, 8 people were killed. Last week in Guma, 6 were killed. Mr. Speaker, the situation of insecurity is become very bad. As a farming state, and in this farming season, what that means is that we are running from our farms at this time. So it is something that we have to face squarely. Mr. Speaker, I appeal that the security agencies, their leaders, be made to do their duty. As I speak to you, Mr. Speaker, there's a small army unit of about 20 sighted in Chatwaka. Those men will not move even when people cry to them, and they tell you they were not sent to go and fight. So something drastic has to be done. If not, what we are called food basket of the nation will become a nothing basket, because the farmers are running from their farms. If in Oju, 13 are killed in one night, and they attacked again yesterday night, it means that you will not stop. So, Mr. Speaker, we appeal that something be done to make the security agencies sit on their table. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Said, Section 227 of the Constitution, it talks about quasi-military groups. I think we should look at it and see how we can tweak it in a way that will make the fight against the criminals more effective. Honorable Margaret.
Constituency, I'm from Taraba State. Mr. Speaker, sir, this issue of kidnapping, I think our securities are not telling us the truth. They are always giving briefs on the success, but there's a lot of questions that need answers, sir. These kidnappers, they are communicating with the family of their victims through phones. We are told by the Ministry of Communications that all lines in Nigeria have been registered, and all the satellites we have are numbered. Wherever you are making calls, the signals is indicating you are making calls in so-so point. Last time, Mr. Speaker, Mr. President commissions a very sophisticated vehicles that they told us they will use them in tracking every course. What are the function of that vehicle? Where are the vehicles now? And also, Mr. Speaker, we have been seeing some arrested kidnappers. The security are interviewing them. They are confessing that they collected 100 million, 20 million, 40 million. But if they are asked, how much did you collect from that amount, they will tell you 100,000 or 200. Mr. Speaker, sir, who is collecting the lion's share of that money? Who is he? Why he is not mentioned? Mr. Speaker, last time they kidnapped somebody in my local government. They took him, they used vehicle. They follow a main road from the local government to Jalingo. They passed not less than 8 checkpoints with the man's eyes tight. Where are the security on that checkpoint? What are they doing? Mr. Speaker, sir, it's not about only calling the security to come and brief us. No, they have to tell us the truth of the matter. What is happening? The small securities on the roads, some they will give you a genuine reasons. Last time, one of our colleagues was telling me he was coming back, he took an escort. Until after they reached Abuja, the security was telling him, sir, our guns are not working. So, there's a lot of things. We are always projecting money in this house, and this money have been spent. They have to tell us what are they doing exactly with this money. And Ministry of Communication have to tell us why are they still using telephones and we cannot trace them. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.
Federal constituency. Mr. Speaker, from Gombe State. Mr. Speaker, I have 3 points. I'm not going to waste time. I am calling on, again, the resignation of the service chiefs of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Mr. Speaker, the issue of security, you can see the faces of distinguished honorable members here. The issue of security is so important that it affects everyone. As I'm talking to you, Mr. Speaker, somebody I will call my dad, he is 2 blocks from my village, Kalmai, in Iliri local government area of Gombe State. Right now is in the hands of kidnappers. This is a PDP think tank, a politician of over 60 years. As I'm talking to you, the first call was 50 million. His children are now back at home. The community, my town, like I said, Mr. Speaker, this man's house is 2 blocks to my father's house. He's now in the hands of kidnappers. This is a serious issue. Anytime it comes up, every state is affected. Mr. Speaker, I still want to say the issue is not about money being appropriated for these agencies. Everywhere you go, when you see a fine house, it's either for a captain, for an inspector, or for a superintendent. A lot of people are making money out of this issue. It is time for us as legislators to play our role in making sure that the issue of security in this country improves. Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, finally, I want to say, I will give myself 2 months, Mr. Speaker. If nothing is done tangible to show Nigerians that this House has taken a serious step to cut down the issue of security in this country, I'm going to resign. And I'm serious about it. We cannot come up here and every day we stand and observe silence. The debt is too much. We have to show Nigerians we are for Nigerians. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable colleagues, that's a very serious
block the state, go at home, they shut down everything. We're not supposed to shut down, we're supposed to shut down this country for banditry, not corona. Mr. Speaker, the black people are very strong. I don't believe with any corona. No corona will touch me. Mr. Speaker, seriously, what I believe in it is look at how we became serious in the issue of corona in this country. Why won't government be serious in the issue of this killing as they treated corona? Mr. Speaker, seriously, what is going? All what we are doing, welfare project, everything that this government is doing to make sure that they do welfare or to show change in this government. This banditry, this insecurity is dissolving all our effort. Seriously, in this country, Mr. Speaker, what I observe, SSS are not doing their job. Because if bandits are coming from the forest to come inside the town, SSS is supposed to detect them and inform the military and police. The problem is, these people are coming, Mr. Speaker, from the forest. And sometimes information will reach to the security. But these people will still come, spend hours in a village. Hours, not minutes. Killing people, burning houses. They will even relax there. And then they go. Then later on, security will go and begin carry corpse. So, Mr. Speaker, in this government, all what we are doing in this government, people of this country are not giving us credit because of security. Because the best thing is to protect life and property of a human being. And if we come to the issue of economy, Mr. Speaker, these people, majority of the affected areas, they are the one producing the food that we are eating in this country. 80% of the farmers cannot go farm. So in the next 1 year, Mr. Speaker, all what we have will finish. And we never farm what we eat in the future. And we put ban on importation. So, Mr. Speaker, what I fear is people of this country, now the common people are looking for us. So, gradually, if we allow this insecurity to continue, people will take law into their hand. And the people, they will begin go to the houses of a well-being people and start attacking them to bring them food to eat. Because gradually, if you go to the local area, the only thing, the security of our people is that farming. They will farm what they will eat. And it's because of that farming that this country stay in a peace. So seriously, Mr. Speaker, what I observe is the security, as they said, is embarrassed to the Nigerian security. It's embarrassment to the Nigerian security that a state governor are negotiating with the criminal to bring peace in his state. Because the security cannot tackle that thing. He has to beg them to stop killing his people. He even promised to give them money. Where are the money appropriated for arms? Where are the helicopters? What the Air Force are doing? These people, they are coming in the daytime. In bike, they will send them 200 on bike. You can just bomb them with helicopter in 5 minutes. Where are the intelligent? So seriously, Mr. Speaker, it's embarrassing to negotiate with the criminal is an embarrassment to our security in this country. And what I observe, sir, Air Force, Army, and Police, they're supposed to be serious and take if you send somebody who's AK-47 to attack a bandit who's AK-47, and some bandit, they have even GPMGs. So, Mr. Speaker, the security are not ready to tackle that. As you take tankers, sophisticated tankers to Sambisa, that is what the army is supposed to take to this our forest. Surround our forest with tankers, enter that forest, flush this those idiots and finish them. But as far as they say, they will take helots and go on patrol just inside the city. These people, they are living inside the forest and they are there. So if security are serious, why can't they surround that place with tankers, helicopters, up and down? They will finish them in less than 7 days. So seriously, Mr. Speaker, if security are serious, they will tackle this.
Thank you very much,
This afternoon, it's very sad. Obviously, we moved a motion here and we said these security agencies should be sacked, and they were not sacked. And nothing has improved. after that. And I want to just ask something. Why is it that people cannot resign when they are not performing? It's only in Nigeria that you see that you are not performing. Yes, they've done their best, for God's sake. But their best is not enough to secure lives and property. All of them are putting their best. In fact, if you have 500, you have a wake, you have this, they are just changing names and whatever. But in changing this thing, what has changed? From Abia State, last week, a community was sacked in Ebonyi State, to Edo, to Delta, to Katsina. And let me even ask you, I'm very, very worried that the state of President of Federal Republic of Nigeria is under siege. Which country will take that? My own state, as President of Federal Republic of Nigeria, and somebody is saying, I'm in charge of security. I'm Chief of Army Staff, I'm Defense, and I'm IG of Police. And the governor is saying, I back out of a negotiation. Why did you even start negotiating with bandits? Which means that you know them. I was thinking that people don't know these people. And so if you are negotiating, that means you know the people. So what are we budgeting for? What are we doing? So in moving forward, I believe that until we begin, the system forces people to resign on their own. Since we have failed in sacking people, let the system force people to resign. It is only here that somebody will know that he has failed woefully and the person will be receiving an award. Some people will be clapping for the person will be behaving as if he's a hero. You don't celebrate failure. Yes, they may be working. And if anybody is saying that poverty has nothing to do with security, it's a lie. And there will be more poverty because people are no more inside their farms. In my village, people can't go to farm. Once a woman goes to farm, they will bring the person and they rape the person. In the little farms we are farming. So, Mr. Speaker, everybody must condemn this. Even the person is my father. If my father has failed, I will tell my father, Nna, come back. So that you don't bring shame to us. It's sad commentary and we must condemn it.
Thank you very much, we will now reduce the time to 1 minute as John covers more so we can.
If I can remind every one of us in this National Assembly, the first quarter of the National Assembly, all we are talking about is insecurity. And thank you for the original movement of this motion. Thank you, Honorable, for bringing security back today. Mr. Speaker, we are looking into everything on the top. We don't look into something in the bottom. We are calling for the service chief to be resigned. This, that. That's not the issue. As a security personnel myself that retired from the U.S. Navy, we have to look into, first of all, Honorable raised the issue. Number one, what is the percentage of our population? And what is the percentage of the armed forces, or policemen, or DSS, and our agencies that we have in Nigeria? We need to do massive recruitment. We need to issue to that because the issue is happening in A and upon B, upon C. How many security want to direct to that at the same time? We are in sort of a recruitment in all our agencies, including NRA, DSS. We need to work on that. If we need to fund them to recruit more capacity, more power, so that we can able to deal with all these criminals. That's number one. Number two, Mr. Speaker, we need to understand one thing in this house, no assembly. We need to do something very, very important, very right. How many times do we see all these kidnappers that being captured, and at the end of the day, they right there in the day, sitting down, example, Evans in Lagos. Doing this operation, they lost life, they lost money, they lost people life, and they still right there, nothing done. We need to call the Justice Department to do something about that. If they have been punished, we will now have another people do the same crime. They will show a sample to the dead. Number three, Mr. Speaker, very, very important.
It's almost time.
Every country in the world, they are moving forward. We need to start moving forward and do the thing the right way. We need to start thinking inside the box. Okay. How can we now have state police? If I'm from Yoruba, and I was posted to Kaduna or to Sokoto, I don't understand the language. And they are talking in the Hausa language, and I don't understand the language. So I cannot able to understand what the criminals are saying. Maybe they are calling for the backup or what. But we need to work on how can we get state police so that I can understand if I'm a Yoruba and a Yoruba is a criminal, I understand the culture, the language. We can understand if they are planning for anything, I will understand. So state police is very, very important that we need to work on. If we can address those 3 points, then security in Nigeria will be better than the way it is now. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
We cannot, I repeat, we cannot continue to act in a very reckless manner and we expect good results. We cannot. Let me tell you, sir, that the Sahel region that is above Nigeria has been undergoing a lot of problems, insecurity problems. We were never proactive about this issue. And we knew very well that the problem was shared to us. Our border with that Sahel region is no border. We have no border with Niger. We have no border with Mali. We are not protecting our borders there. So what do you expect? Our intelligence agencies are not working. They should be proactive. They should identify this militia. They are all militia trying to raise money for their cause. And they go for the soft belly. When they want to attack, and the easiest way for them is to come into our own dear country to take money. Kidnap our people, get money, and that's what they are doing, to buy ammunition for themselves and make their militia grow. We need to recognize all these issues and go after them. Sergeants, soldiers came into Nigeria to fight Boko Haram with us. When Nigerian soldiers come some time ago, all those countries will start shaking. Now it's the river. They are making less of us. They know our soldiers are not what they used to be again. There is love of money from the top to the bottom. We are seeing some people are not performing. And as a government, we see things and keeping them. For what? This house too is called pay bill. We should from now on have not dealing with those services. We should not have approved any money for them in the budget. We should not, nobody should even bring them here. The day they come here, I will take the work out. Because we are said we don't have any confidence in them. Why do we bring them here?
Honorable Adejare, once the House makes a resolution, you cannot take the work out. It's a collective, if it's a collective resolution of the House, then we will all abide by it.
Corrected, sir. Thank you very much. But we should be proactive about this issue, and let's give our people, let them know that we are doing something about it. We cannot be coming here to talk about security all the time, and there's nothing doing. We're not doing anything. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chris. Honorable, to our 1 minute, please, everybody.
I want to lend my voice to this motion, but I want to specifically say that it is obvious that the entire security architecture and the entire structure of security in the country has failed, because the primary structures of security have not been put in place. Beginning, like Adejare mentioned, a lot of people come into the country, come in, commit crimes and go away, and we don't have the basic structure to identify those who are Nigerians and those who are not Nigerians. Intelligence failed because we do not identify criminals. And primary things we must put in place as a nation is to ensure that we identify who and who. And that's the things we use to tie in those who committed crimes and identify them, and it's easy to eliminate them. Intelligently and smartly. It is not about mass killing. You can't kill people massively. You can pick criminals one by one if you have properly identified them, and Nigerian citizens are not properly identified, and it's difficult for us to know those who are not. If you go to Francophone countries, at top of us, Chad, Cameroon, Niger, anywhere you go to, they'll ask you for say they have proper identity. Nigerian citizens are not properly identified, and it's difficult to track criminals. Intelligence structure is not in place, and we have to consider it. But however, in order, instead of complaining about the problem, let us all talk about the solutions. I will also stand and say that it is high time we put up a national dialogue on the dialogue on national security. If you get a perspective, a parliamentary national dialogue on national security. It is important so that we can, after engaging all these people, let us have a proper dialogue. Look at the critical challenges we are having and how to provide solutions. It is all over the place. It's strengthening our national security everywhere. Farmers had banditry everywhere. Boko Haram have been there over the years. The last time, the people from Chad wanted to finish the people causing problem in Northeast. After 7 days, they've got we asked them to go back. Nothing has stopped them to have not finished them in Sambisa. Our military have been there for years, they couldn't fight them. The Chad army and their president came within few weeks or few days, they were almost throwing them out. And they had to beg for them to go back. So we have to take this thing serious, like everybody's saying. I want to address it, and I want to let my voice that this thing will go. And that's why in my amendment, I said that if you're inviting security officers, we have to invite the Nigerian customs, who clear some of the arms into the country, and also immigration, who allow people to come in. We need to invite them. They have to be part of people that will invite. That's my
opinion. Chris, they are human beings like us. They need courage. They need motivation from this hollow green chamber. One, to give you a typical example, Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, last 1 to 2 weeks, the governor of Sokoto came and paid a visit to Mr. President on the issue of banditry in Sokoto. Immediately the following day, the chief of air staff moved to Sokoto. I didn't see anybody appreciated that effort, and the outcome we don't know. And I insisted, even in the initial time, the last time that we were talking about the security issue, Mr. Speaker, issue of security is not an ordinary issue that will come before the camera and start discussing it to the public. The mandate and the aim of this government, each and every one of us is aware, is to tackle of insecurity in this country. And then definitely they are aware of what is going on. It's not for public domain to say the strategies of how they are doing this. They are in Borno, they are in Katsina, they are in Zamfara, they are in Sokoto. Thank God the chairman of army, he came up with a motion last time that looking for approval to give the military to recruit almost 100,000 officers. Then we should question ourselves, who is the legislators here, the representative of our people. Mr. Speaker, an officer will be deployed to Maiduguri because he had me here standing. He will say that he spent 2-3 years there. He wants me to talk to any of the chief of staff or security agents to be redeployed to come back to Abuja or to move to Lagos, to leave the battlefield, while he's a military officer. Mr. Speaker, commonly, there is issue of this lockdown. Military has to be deployed to the streets. Yes, they are all over everywhere. We're supposed to talk to our people, at least to talk to them, to hear us. These banditries, they are not anybody, they are in our mix. They are our people. They are the people we know. Most of them, they are aware. And if you go to a village or a local government, you see that a police officer spent 3 years, 3 months, 3 years in the office. He cannot be moved. He's familiar with the terrain. So even if you caught those banditry, you took them. For example, I was seeing the case was being still down of that Adamawa, this kidnapper. What are they waiting? Is he not a kidnapper? What will be the outcome? So we need to do something and encourage this service chief. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Maki. Last speaker on this side.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Rat Ibrahim Ayakuli Isaka is my name. I represent the very good people of Ifor, Iwekoro Federal Constituency. I'm from Ogun State, Mr. Speaker. I want to lend my voice